Keep smelling good.
Welcome everybody to my fragrance obsession. It's an amazing afternoon. The sun is shining, and this is my 100th episode of my fragrance obsession. It's weird. I still can't get over the fact that I've made 100 reviews for this YouTube channel, and I just want to say a big thank you once again to each and every one of you guys who've shown the dedication into watching my videos, and it really does mean a lot. So thank you very much, guys, for all your support. Please stay tuned, and we'll talk about Tommy by Tommy Hilfiger. Please stay tuned, guys. Welcome back, guys. Tommy by Tommy Hilfiger was launched in 1994, and the perfumers for this scent are Alberto Marias. As you guys know, I mention his name a lot because I do have a lot of fragrances that have been made by him. I have Oxygen Home by Lanvin. I don't have this other fragrance, but he's also made CK1 by Calvin Klein. And the second perfumer, yes, that's right, there are two, Annie Buzantian. I think I pronounced her name right. I really hope I have, because there's one thing I hate, it's pronouncing names wrong, as you guys know. But she's also made Decadence by Marc Jacobs, which was a 2015 release, a perfume for women. A little bit of information there on the perfumers. Let's talk a little bit about the company, though, a little bit about Tommy Hilfiger himself. Now, he's an American designer. He was born on the 24th of March, 1951, making him 65 years of age today. He's known all around the world for his lifestyle brand Tommy Hilfiger Corporation, which was founded back in 1985. He actually had a few stores, fashion stores and also record stores in upstate New York in the 1970s. And he began making sportswear for the Anonymous in the 1980s. His company then began to grow and grow and grow throughout the 80s and the 90s. He started making fragrances, he started making fashion for women, he started making really luxury products. And his company just grew. It just became bigger and bigger and bigger. And sadly, in 2006, he sold his company to a company called Apax Partners for $1.6 billion. Then in 2010, he sold it again to Philips Van Heusen for $3 billion. So there's a lot of money there. Hilfiger himself remains the principal designer of the company. So it's quite interesting to know a little bit about companies, a little bit about the history of the designer before I like to review fragrances. It's always nice to get a bit of history, you know? So this fragrance does have a nice story to it, and I really like the the reasons as to why this fragrance is what it is. Now, this fragrance is made to capture a adventure or a journey that Tommy Hilfiger himself had in the United States of America, and he went on a journey all around America. He visited different states, and I think this was in the early 1990s. I think it was in 1991. He just went on a long adventure. I think he went with him and his family, and he visited different states like Nevada, Florida, North Carolina, and Arizona. So he went pretty much everywhere, you know. And when he came back, he really wanted to make a fragrance based on his journey, his adventure around the United States of America. And this is this fragrance. Because in the notes, you'll notice on Base Notes and Fragrantic, and I just want to say a big thank you to Base Notes actually for really giving me this information, you know, because I've looked everywhere else on this fragrance. And Base Notes is really good for giving you a lot of information on fragrances, and I use it occasionally. I'm a big fan of Base Notes. And this is some of the information that I got off the website. I noticed that this fragrance has notes of lavender and bergamot from Nevada. It's also got some grapefruit from Florida, driftwood from North Carolina, and cactus flower from Arizona. And the list goes on and on and on. So there are some pretty good notes in this scent. However, there are also some interesting notes as well. We also get notes like apple pies, we get rain, we also get a bit of spearmint, we get some maple, and of course we get some blue spruce. So there are some really interesting notes in this scent, but it's a really good scent anyway. So it is classified as a aquatic floral. A lot of people call this an aquatic aromatic, an aromatic aquatic, which is a bit strange. But I would call this a floral aquatic, because obviously it is from the 90s, and a lot of aquatic fragrances from the 1990s had that strong floral take on them, whereas with today it's more fruit based, so fruit and vegetable, you know, like cucumber extract and stuff like that. Back then it was all the odd fruit with that little bit of floral, and this is what this fragrance does, you know. So it's really nice. I've wore it a few times and I do get some compliments on it, and it just smells really, really good. So we're going to go through all the notes and talk about what this fragrance is like from start to finish. Here we go. Now, before I do that, I just want to show you guys the bottle real quick. The bottle isn't really anything too nice to look at. It's pretty bland. However, there are some nice little features on the side. We get Tommy Hilfiger embossed there, and we also get it embossed on the other side. We get Tommy down the middle there in this quite nice casual writing. We get Tommy Hilfiger there written on the cap. Now the cap is made of plastic, it's not metal sadly, but it's still a nice feature. And we get some information here on the bottom. We get Tommy Eau de Toilette Spray, 1.7 fluid ounce, 50 ml, Tommy Hilfiger Toiletries, distribution New York, New York, London, Paris, Milan, made in Switzerland. Sprayer is also really good. We get a nice sprayer on this. Sprays very well. Doesn't give you a lot, which is good. And I think it's a good way to save the fragrance as well. So, yeah. Let's talk about Tommy by Tommy Hilfiger. Here we go. I've blown on it again. I shouldn't do that. I do it all the time. Ah! Sorry, guys. I really need to start listening to advice and my own advice. I'm ridiculous sometimes, seriously. So, in the top, we get lavender, bergamot, rain, Florida grapefruit, Kentucky bluegrass, and Midwest spearmint. So, do I get any of those notes? Well, let's have a look. So, smelling it straight away, I do get a very fresh, very clean scent. So I think that's based from the bergamot. And I think that rain note, I mean, I don't know what rain smells like, but I think it captures a more watery sort of vibe, maybe. Because I am getting a very watery, very fresh, clean vibe. I'm getting that grapefruit as well. That grapefruit is really coming through. It's very sweet, very juicy. Florida grapefruit, I should say. Kentucky bluegrass. I suppose I do get maybe a little bit of a grassy feel with this in the opening. Yeah, a little bit. And we also get that Midwest spearmint. Now the Midwest spearmint, or just spearmint, I'll just say it for short. It is a little bit minty, but it's you know, listed as spearmint is exactly the right note, because it's not overpowered mint, so it's not like a peppermint. It is a very sweet mint, which is what spearmint is, and I think that's a really clever. I think it's really realistic what I'm saying, but I think it's a clever idea as well, because it's just balancing all of these notes out nicely. So that lavender is strong in the opening, that bergamot's also strong, but the rain giving it that watery sort of vibe. The Florida grapefruit is very strong also. It's very zesty, it's very juicy as well, very sweet also. We get that bluegrass in there, which is kind of creating that grassy sort of feel, and the Midwest spearmint creating this sort of light mint. It's not overpowered, like I said, very light mint, but it's also very sweet. Now let's look at the middle notes, guys. We get North Carolinian driftwood, cranberry, apple pies, and yellow rose. Obviously, I'm not going to get the middle notes just yet, but let's see if I can sort of get them. Now, driftwood, I mean, it is a little bit woody, so that could be that note. It is a little bit woody, yeah. Very much woody. In terms of the cranberry, however, cranberry itself, if you were to drink cranberry juice, it's quite a dry, it's got like a dry texture to it. So in this, I do get kind of like a dried berry note, but it's not totally hidden. It's not totally exposed, is what I'm saying. It seems quite hidden. It's quite, it seems to me like it's hidden behind that wood sort of note that I'm getting. But it's pretty nice, however. Apple pies, I do get kind of like an apple vibe now that I think about it. But I think overall the bergamot in the top and also the Florida grapefruit, it's creating this sort of zesty vibe. So maybe it's making me think that there's apple, but it doesn't smell like a a very juicy apple, so I'm not getting kind of like a, for example, a Boss bottled sort of apple. I am getting a sort of, it kind of smells a little bit like a cooked apple, you know, like you know how you can get cooking apples, and the smell of cooked apple with kind of like an apple, sort of maybe like a pastry. So apple pie is probably the right idea. I don't really get a natural born apple, but I do get a pie sort of apple smell, which is really, really good. In terms of rose, I don't really get a yellow rose or anything. Doesn't really come through, if I'm honest, but so far, really, really nice. Now let's look at the base. We get blue spruce. Let's have a look. It's pretty floral again. I mean, maybe not so much a spruce, but that lavender is really strong, if I'm honest with you. It's definitely punching throughout the whole fragrance, I think. It's definitely one of the main notes of the scent. We get the Arizona cactus flower. Again, it's just very floral. I cannot really detect whether it is an exact Arizona cactus flower, but it's a very floral fragrance, however, so perhaps, I don't know. Then we get the Vermont red maple. Kind of like a maple syrup sort of smell. Not exactly sweet, but again, it's giving me sort of this like natural clean smell, so I don't really get a strong maple. I mean, it's there. I guess it's there. It's kind of hidden behind the driftwood, but it's pretty nice, however, you know. Now, I cannot say this next word. Wyoming, is it? I'm guessing it's a city in America. Wyoming, I think it's Wyoming, but whatever. We'll just say Wyoming cottonwood, which is the next note, and we get amber. So, do I get any of those? I do get a cotton sort of smell throughout this whole fragrance. I think I said that when I was talking about the opening. It's clean, fresh, but it's also got this cotton feel, very soft sort of smell. Amber, do I get amber? I definitely get an amber. I think it's woody. It's also very sweet and very pleasant, actually. It's a really, really nice fragrance, guys. I mean, I could review this all day talking about each individual note. However, I think that the most dominant notes in this fragrance are definitely the bergamot, grapefruit, lavender, the driftwood, that apple pie sort of smell, and the amber. They're definitely the most dominant notes in the scent. But I just think it's a really clever fragrance, a very clever idea on it, and I think it's definitely a favorite of mine. I've wore it quite a lot, actually, and I'm really enjoying it. I think this will be put in one of my summer fragrance lists, because it is very bright. It's just really nice. It's really different, you know, very casual also. So guys, thank you so much for watching my fragrance obsession. It's been for Tommy by Tommy Hilfiger. This review is going to be pretty long. I do apologize for that. This is an amazing fragrance, guys. If you really want to get a bottle of this, you can find it for pretty cheap online, and I would highly recommend it because it's really different and it's just a class fragrance. So guys, thank you so much for watching my fragrance obsession. My name is Matt. Really does mean a lot. Keep smelling good, and bye-bye for now.